Hello, my name is Sam. I'm a junior at Beaver County High School and I'm so incredibly excited to be applying for this program. My goals for life are to be constantly open-minded, flexible, consistently curious, driven, and committed to helping others. And every day I try to make those goals my reality. I love good food, flowing trails to bike and run on, and powdered slopes to ski down. Montana truly is the last best place, a state where you can live life to its fullest. Updating my Politico app addictively, discussing issues with anyone who wants to, and reading is how I stay up to date on the world we live in. Strong societies are educated ones, and public education is what has traditionally been the single most effective way of leveling the playing field so everyone has a chance to have opportunities to achieve and become productive members of society. We often hear politicians discuss the state of the American dream, whether or not it is attainable. Most associate that term, American dream, with the accumulation of wealth and power. I do not. I believe the true dream is to simply have a strong quality of life, one where you can have meaningful work, support yourself and your family, and enjoy the simple things life has to offer. As a son of two teachers, I have seen just how much achieving education and having that quality of life go hand in hand. I've seen how impactful my mom has been with her middle school students when she focuses on civil rights and women's rights, when she teaches the importance of giving back through community service, and when she fosters a classroom environment that encourages every student to learn about themselves, to learn about the world in a judgment-free environment. Standing up for public education is one of my driving reasons for wanting to enter public service. 2 years ago, when I was a freshman, I organized a rally called Education Matters. I live in a conservative county that was being represented in the legislature by a hardliner in Senate President Debbie Barrett and a deal maker in Representative Jeff Welborn. I wanted to demonstrate that public education is important to constituencies in blue counties and in red. I worked from November through January recruiting speakers, collaborating with teachers, and building attendance, even getting on a conference call with Superintendent Juneau, Lieutenant Governor McLean, and representatives from MEA MFT. On February 3rd, 2014, the Montana Standard estimated that 300 people showed up on a very snowy night to show passionate support for our public schools. Speakers including former Lieutenant Governor McLean, Representative Jeff Welborn, and County Superintendent of Schools Linda Marsh made a strong argument that investing in public education is an issue that should unite, not divide. And in life, that is what we should strive for, common ground. If we cut through the noise of our 24-hour news cycle, there is so much that could be done in the areas like advancing education and combating climate change. We just need to foster a generation of leaders who are more concerned about making people's lives more secure than advancing their own careers. That being said, I am definitely politically progressive, but mindful of the need to learn all perspectives on all array of issues. I am the secretary of the Beaver County Democratic Central Committee. I volunteered at the 2014 Special Nominating Convention in Helena, and I've made phone calls from party headquarters. In March of 2015, I helped convince 2 retired teachers to run for seats on the school board, and I showed my support by writing letters to the editor. They both won. This past spring, I collected signatures from Beaver County to get Hillary Clinton on the primary ballot in Montana. Not an easy endeavor, but one that I'm proud to have had a part in. In 2015, I was the youngest of Forward Montana's 25 Under 25 award. This past school year, I served as student body secretary. I am the president of the Community Youth Initiative, which is a subsidiary of the Turner Foundation and is in charge of allocating approximately $25,000 to youth-focused groups throughout the Dillon community. I also was and continue to be a member of Eco Club and serve on Dillon's tree board. Currently, I'm the treasurer for our National Honor Society chapter, and last April, I was elected Lieutenant Governor of the YMCA Youth and Government Program, winning by 1 vote in a 3-way race with 12 delegations of students really made clear how important it is to build relationships with every single person that you encounter and foster an inclusive environment. The most impactful personal growth experience I've had yet in my life came from my month studying and traveling throughout Thailand with the American Youth Leadership Project. This program is funded by the State Department and administered through the Mansfield Center. 19 students and 2 teachers from Montana traveled thousands of miles to learn about climate change and food security. Throughout our time in Thailand, we were exposed to a growing trend that places resiliency over efficiency, on people before profit. We visited communities that are trying to rebuild themselves and maintain and continue to advance their natural resources, which have been damaged so severely in the last decades and continuing through present day by the industrial mindset of our world. We visited communities that are replanting mangroves, forming crop sharing associations, reinvigorating their economy around ecotourism, working to reverse slash and burn policies, building bamboo barriers to protect against the threat of coastal erosion, and constructing check dams to mitigate the effects of deforestation and increasingly devastating storms. Communities that are working together to build a sustainable future. The whole trip came together in a hill tribe village in the mountains of Chiang Rai province. This village is almost completely self-sufficient. For food, they grow rice, vegetables, fruit, they raise chicken. Revenue from coffee plantations, which have replaced opium, go towards things like building materials and cloth. No one in the community is left out or behind. And education is opening new doors of opportunity. One woman, Chome, came to Montana to learn about best business practices through the Mansfield Center. She now is using what she learned to help the women of her community better market and export their coffee. We also spent a week in an Islamic school in the south of Thailand, and it was eye-opening. I consider myself open-minded, and while other Montana students were nervous about the Islamic culture from all of the slander that has been displayed against Islam in the United States, I was fired up and I was ready to go spend a week up close with their culture. And when our bus drove up to the school's gate and we walked with our partners to the dorms, everyone covered head to toe, hustle, bustle, staring at us. I have to admit that I experienced culture shock. And the next morning when the bell for the first prayer rang at 4:45 and continued to ring for a solid 15 minutes, I was definitely still in culture shock. But over the week that we were there, I saw those cultural barriers break and friendships that will last for years to come be built. And that was my absolute favorite part of Thailand. It wasn't the curry or the pad thai or the noodle bowls, although they were delicious, but connecting and talking with new people. I am so inspired by the conversations I had. The head of the regional USAID talked about the work he is doing, work like helping communities get access to clean water, work that shows just how important the US's leadership is in the world. In Chiang Mai, I had a conversation with a career Foreign Service officer in charge of the region's English-speaking programs. She has lived in Brazil, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Peru, Thailand, and this coming year she'll be traveling back to Brazil. We spoke of language learning, adapting to entirely new cultures and people, and diplomatic back-channeling, which she has been a part of and I was so inspired by. Getting to ask Dr. Surin Pitsuwan, former Secretary General of ASEAN, what he was most proud of accomplishing during his tenure was really meaningful. He said that he was most proud of accomplishing a renewed focus on Southeast Asia, both economically and diplomatically. Until age 11, he walked to school without shoes. He had no electricity and read by kerosene lamps. When Dr. Surin was my age, he came and lived for a year in Minnesota through AFS. There he perfected English, and while he had wanted to be placed in California or Florida, he gained an appreciation for Middle America because, he said, People from Middle America are so curious about the world. He said that his future, which included serving in Thailand's parliament, being foreign minister, being secretary general, and getting a PhD in political science from Harvard, was opened because of his time in Minnesota. That's incredible. We live in a global, interconnected world. Technology and travel has made it smaller. We can't live in isolation. We have to embrace each other, celebrate our differences, and work together to safeguard our world. I want to be part of that effort. The night before we left the Islamic school, a teacher stood up to say farewell. She said, "If you turn on the news right now, you would think that the US and Muslims can't coexist. You would think that all of Islam are hijackers or terrorists or extremists. But over the past few days, we have proven that Muslims and Americans can not only coexist, but we can be friends. And that's why your stay here has been so important." And as she said that, she was tearing up, and I think most of us were too. And I think that that experience and everything I've done in life will continue to shape how I act, view the world, and will give meaning to my goals for life. The Senate Youth Program would be another incredible opportunity to be further exposed to new levels of decision-making and extraordinary public servants. You can be sure that if I am chosen to represent Montana in this great program, I would fully immerse myself in it and glean everything I could from it. Thank you very much.